Izzy Darkmatter. How you doing this evening?
Pretty good. How's it going, man?
I'm chilling. I'm chilling. I am chilling. Um, yeah, it always throws. I got to get used to just saying, "How's it going?" to a person when I hit the bot instead of actually having to repeat. Oh, okay, I just talked to you and all that good stuff. Now I got to say, "How's it going?" again. um, Thank you for taking the time out today to talk to me. Initially, I wanted to talk to you about virtual reality and VR, and I mean, of course, I am. But then I started browsing your art, and I started just checking out more stuff from you. And there's just loads to talk about. I guess for starters, please introduce yourself.
Uh, I'm Izzy Darkmatter, and I'm basically kind of a small time. I fancy myself creative, I guess you could say. Um, but yeah, I've been working on filming in VR. I'm definitely VR enthusiast and semi artist, I would say. Semi.
Nah, I think you got it. Wait. So, quick question: the video you did, the VR chat video, the story is that you voice acting that?
Yeah, that's just me, man. But
Okay, I think that was really cool because when I heard your voice, it sounds like you should be in a video game voicing some. I don't know, like one of those out of those the 2000s, one of those badasses with the blade for no reason that's like larger than their body.
that's kind of the dream. I've actually always been kind of a voice actor enthusiast. I mean, I'm a huge like nerd and anime fan, so it kind of goes hand in hand. You
Yeah.
always want to mimic like what you enjoy, you know.
Yeah. I've always that's like been one of not necessarily my dream job, but if I had to pick a 9 to 5, being a voice actor would definitely be that job that I would prefer over just standard regular 9 to 5s.
Oh, most definitely.
Have you done other works outside of that?
No, no, absolutely no. I'm very very small time. Like every basically everything that I'm producing, I kind of make,
Okay.
and honestly, all the light of day until recently.
Do you have any plans for? Well, I'm pretty sure you're gonna continue doing it because it didn't seem like you. It seems like you got the well, not the stick for it, but the point. I'm looking for the word, but it seems like you know how to do it, and like I would like to see more from it. I don't know, like what do you have like a big plan in mind for that one?
I mean, I am working on a series currently that kind of ties into what I did make because initially when I did it like that was all just kind of an to learn to film in VR because basically I've always been very into like creating stuff like that, and when I when I got into VR chat I just found it to be like this world full of worlds and create. So basically, someone's gone through and done all the hard work for me, and now I'm just going to piggyback onto onto
I feel that.
storylines that I can create for them.
I feel
But yeah,
I really
that was
was.
supposed to be
Oh,
a standalone initially, and then the series that I'm currently working on will actually kind of lead it.
okay. I That's actually what like really just piqued, not necessarily just piqued my interest, but I got my ADD started getting active because for me, I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan, and I love just jumping from world to world. And when you started talking about everything from the void to the many worlds, and that's the reason why I'm so hyped about VR because I realized that that's right at your fingertips. You can do you can do everything you kind of always wanted now. You can kind of jump into a shell and actually be a part of those worlds. And I don't know, but my
Just about,
ADD
and
gets
depending on the
active.
world creator, you can like interact with all the stuff that's in there and shit. Like it's man, these kids are brilliant in what they create these days. And like I'm 32. These are kids that are like 19, 20 making this stuff. I'm like, man,
Yeah,
what am I doing with my life?
it's it's like the question always not bothers me, it boggles me. Do I wanna be the kid that I am now? Like, I'm 27, so I was born in the age of like the computers just started and we got to be a part of the VCR and the whole fast movement to now we don't use that anywhere. And it's just like, I'm because I'm proud to be a part of that, but then I recognize just how powerful the kids are today.
Yeah, I mean, I used to like, cause also I'm that last generation of like kids that had to go out and look for jobs. Nowadays, everything's done on computers. And it was like, as that was happening, I would walk into these places and these little 16-year-olds would look at me and be like, yeah, you do the application at home. And I'm like, "Look, fucker, talk down to me. You're like half my age." And I'm like, oh, that kid's talking down to me because that kid's smarter than me, shit. And I don't consider myself to be dumb.
Yo, and that's actually, I was having a conversation with a guy the other day. This is just a small tangent, but because I had my whole thoughts on like, oh, they're making their attempt to try to catch up after with the dollar, and the little kid, well, not little kid, the guy that was younger than me was like, no, the China's dollar is not gonna ever catch up with it, and I was like, but you do get the concept that I'm talking about. And it's just like he kind of, it's like they think they know a lot, and I get it. You're young and you haven't experienced everything that's kind of hitting you and sitting you on your ass. But
Oh man, they're in the coolest part of their life.
um, so what do you use to access VR? Like, what is your preferred, I guess, headset or, yeah,
Well, I mean,
what's
ideally, the dream would be a a Steam headset. I would love to have the Steam headset with like the whole full body capture and everything. But
mm,
yeah, yeah, but that's quite an expensive rig. Honestly, if you want to get into VR quickly, the Quest 2 is the way to do it, man. You can plug it into your computer and it'll work just like PC VR. You'll have access to everything. I'm not a Facebook fan, and the whole Facebook like thing with that really upsets me because also I bought my Quest like I bought it before that happened. You still did not have to have a Facebook account when I got mine. And he had promised that you would never have to. And naturally went back on that.
wait, is
But
that a
yeah,
thing?
so while I'm anti Facebook, I do still promote the Quest 2 because it's just a good piece of machinery, man.
Wait, but is that a thing? In order to use your Quest, you have to have a Facebook account?
Because I got mine before that happened, I still have like a year or so before I have to have a Facebook account. But people who get a Quest 2 today, you have to have a Facebook account. It has to be in your real name. If it is not in your real name, like if they find out, they have the ability to brick your system. They have the ability to brick your system anyways. There's been a whole big thing with like basically certain people getting bricked when they don't feel like they've like misused the terms of service. But I mean, you never really know what's going on. The only spite one that I've heard of was a kid who broke his neck playing with his Oculus, which they are heavy machines.
Mm.
However, when he posted that to Facebook, he posted in a, yeah, look what a badass gamer I am. I broke my neck playing games. Yeah, his chick got bricked. And here's the thing, like, you buy all your games through that system. So basically, when they break your system, they take away all of your games.
Are you? That's okay. So that's
That's
nasty in
totally fucked up,
itself.
right?
Yeah. So what is the alternative to Quest? Because I don't want that. I don't. If I have to do that to get my Quest, I want something that's off the grid.
Man, like I said, Steam has a really great one. There, dude that you can watch Drill. He does Tuesday News Day for your VR systems, and he has basically one of every item, and he will tell
Hmm.
you all about them. But so far, the Steam one is the best one, man.
And you told me about how basically that has other parts to it where you can actually wear, I guess, a kind of like a suit.
It's not even. It's more like infrared triggers, man. And basically, like it'll pick up kind of waist. You'll have one for your waist, and you'll have one for each ankle, and it'll pick up the movement. And basically, it uses kind of like presumed leg movement. But anyone in
Hmm.
VR that dancing or anything like that, if they can do like a handstand and it's not a pre-programmed something, it's because they have full body tracking. And
Okay.
full body tracking is the shit. I want it very bad. But it also costs upwards of like 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be pushing some bank to get that
Yeah.
one.
But
I
I
always
believe,
imagine a room like I always would think that the rooms of the future, or no, the homes of the future, they would just come with. So there's the theater room that we have now, but instead we would have the room that's dedicated to the VR virtual room. So you would go in there, close the door, and basically that room loads up to if you want to watch some show, you can do that. If you want to be in the Discovery movie, you can do that. It's just I imagine we're gonna be in a world where now the necessary thing that comes with a house is a VR theater or VR room attached to the
dude,
house.
it is coming to that really, really quick. Like the leaps and bounds that they've made in the past few years, um, just absolutely amazing. And you get to see it in like it wasn't because most of the games that you'll get for it currently are kind of, I don't want to say cheesy, but they're more on the simple scale, you know? Like most of the rhythm games are real simple. It's just things coming towards you and you go through them. But
Yeah.
but then you had stuff like Half-Life Alyx come out, and Half-Life Alyx was a game changer. It's a shorter game, but it's an amazing game, and I mean, it's an intimidating game to play if you're not used to horror, you know?
So I didn't experience Half Life Alex. I was one of well, I didn't experience it. I didn't have a VR system, but like it sounds like you did. So tell me about it. What was so hyping about? Because the cool part about Half Life is they changed the game back in the day. Let me find out they're changing the game again by hooking a VR to it.
Man, it the immersive quality just changes a lot. Like I'm not ridiculous great at horror games, but I can at least like take them most of the time. I'm still right in the beginning phases of Half-Life Alyx now.
Mm.
I watched my SO play this game. All right, so it's like I know things that are coming, but I literally played a scene that I watched him play where I knew this dude that I walked up to was dead. But when I touched this dude, he made a noise and I just pulled out my gun and shot him in the head. Like
Oh
it's
dang.
immersive enough that you feel the need to protect yourself. Um,
Okay.
I had never
I'm gonna
had my
have to get that. Hello.
oh, do I still have you?
Yeah, yeah. I'm okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. We're here. We're here.
Cool.
I I tell you, Craig. Like I said, Craig misbehaved, so I had to double check. I got PTSD from that now, but but like I really want to experience that. I've been seeing the climbing games where people are climbing on the side of buildings and they're doing that. One guy was telling me about him getting motion sickness from it. It was it was so
Some
real.
people do.
Yeah, and that's crazy to me that you're in a place now where something is so real or it's real enough to make you sick, and I think that's just crazy.
Man, I've never really dealt with motion sickness, but there are a lot of people who've like for that reason. However, I will say that like one of the first few things that I did was roller coaster simulator,
Mm.
and man, I'm not like a roller coaster person to begin with, but when you go up and down, you feel it in your stomach, like your brain messes with you like that. Or
Oh
you
my god.
fall off a ledge in VR chat because they basically if you fall off a ledge, normally you just kind of respawn, but you do the fall first. And it yeah, the first couple times it catches you, man.
I gotta. Oh my god. So I always wondered if that was more of a a physical momentum thing that you're like, because I've been in a car before, and it's like it was a deep slope. I remember back in the cliff, it was like this deep slope on the street that we used to drive on. And every time as a kid, it would just make you go, you feel that bubble in your gut. And to hear you basically say in VR you feel that from visualizing it, I'm already addicted to VR just from this conversation. I was addicted to it prior to it. That's why I was always talking about it. And it's just that kind of stuff. It just mind boggles me. Like it's in your mind. Like
It's so like your head messing with you, but at the same time, it messes with you enough that it's real enough. Even when playing like Beat Saber, sometimes you get like it just goes so fast, or the walls come at you so fast that like you just it almost knocks you off your feet, and then you realize there's nothing actually there. The greatest is basically when you're in a high tense situation and then the cat rubs up against your leg,
mm,
scares the shit out of you.
yeah. I, so with those horror games, because I, as a kid, I was always just, I don't know, I think it was the looming dread of, oh my God, I'm gonna die in the game. I don't want to die in the game. If I die in this game, I died. You know, it's just that. And being able to be like, oh, imagine Resident Evil. Huh.
Oh, oh man, that's how I say I'm having trouble. Like, there's this game called Echo, and it's real simple. It's not that scary. It's really kind of a stealthy game, but like the way it works is like you have these little kind of black smudges, and as
Mm-hmm.
you go through, they become people and they start chasing you. And even playing something as simple as that is like very, very tense in VR. I couldn't imagine it in VR. That's why I'm having trouble continuing Half Life.
It excites me. It excites me. Do you have any fears from that? Do you? I guess with just VR as a thing, what are your fears?
um, I mean, there's really not much, man. I do I don't know. There's not it's really not quite abilities of it yet. For instance, there's at at the risk of basically in VR chat, like if you're in VR chat, you do not mention mods,
Mm.
because if someone's a PC user, they kind of have all these options to like mod their account, and some of those mods are like supposedly like I I don't know how real some of these mods are either, but some of them are apparently high caliber enough to like crash your system. So basically,
Oh.
like if you're in VR chat, you if there's someone who like maybe you shouldn't see their something, but for some reason you can, they're a person to be wary of. If someone like sends you a friend request, but it's someone who you haven't talked to, you don't know why this person's sending it, don't accept it. Like there's just a lot of possibilities for a lot of data exposure or system crashing when it comes to VR, and it's kind of something that I don't understand fully, so it's something that kind of worries me. That would be my main concern when it comes to VR.
Mm.
And most of that seems to be centered around VR chat, but at the same time it's like if it exists for that, then why does it not exist for any other basically multiplayer game?
Yeah. That's so. I haven't made my adventure into the world obviously yet, but things like VR chat is on my list. Things like Decryptoland or Decentraland, or which one is it? I think it's Decryptoland, Crypto Voxels. All of those
Yeah.
places are on my list because I recognize the power behind it right now. One of my goals right now is to make Isuzu Rodeo Mall a virtual mall. I want to go ahead and get my space set up in the virtual reality place. So that way now I can, all of the homies here can just kind of hang out there. And it's just, there's so much power in the virtual space. I look at
Oh,
it as the new front. Well, it could he looked at it as the final frontier because we always say space is the final frontier, but then you think about the ocean that we don't dive deep into, and if we do put virtual reality on a very hyped scale, then this will become the final frontier because we'll just go there and make the stuff. We'll go
dude, because it's like
recreate the ocean.
space beyond space, man. Some of the places these kids create, it's wow. I
What's the
mean, when
craziest
you
place you've
saw the
been?
background for my initial film, like that's just a random place that I found, man.
So where was that?
It had a foreign name. I'm not really sure who the world creator is or what the world is actually called, which is why when it came to the credits, I just literally put the name in as I saw it from the system.
Yeah.
But just basically you can do searches in VR chat, but they also have like this kind of random world option, and then they have like new world options. And when I was Quest only, like before I got my PC and could link up, um, that was one of the worlds that I was able to get into. So basically, we have both a Quest and a Rift, and
Mm.
me and my partner just basically jumped into it and made sure that we had like Quest friendly avatars and started filming.
So you said a rift. It's RIFT?
Yeah, all right. And it's one of the older ones. I cannot remember the names of either of them at the moment, but basically when he had the option, he was reading reviews and saw that like the newer riffs, they get like microphone issues and they get audio issues. So he went with the older one, which was also very hard to find at the time. But uh but we've been very, very happy with it, man. It's both are Oculus.
I'm gonna definitely partake. I don't want to get to the summer and not have my VR system ready. Like I just there is so much there's so much there. The fact that you're talking about other worlds, how do you even get to those worlds? Do you use VR
Yeah,
chat to access them or
yeah,
yeah.
like the worlds I'm currently talking about are all only inside one pro. And honestly, I think the creator is probably the biggest genius in the world. What he's basically done was create a platform and go, oh, hey, everybody. Yeah, you can create as many worlds or characters as you want in here. And now he's got VR Chat Plus, which you pay for. It's like $9 a month or something. But
Hmm.
uh, but basically, he's making money off the work of the people who play his game. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
that's pretty brilliant, but at the same time it did give all these kids this like open platform to just create whatever they wanted. And when I say create, man, like yeah, they have these different worlds. The one that we filmed in initially, that is all it is. It's that little platform. It's just a really cool platform. But they have worlds that are gigantic that you can literally like explore, you know? I made this one world my home world. So basically, when I load it, I spawn in this area, and it's this cool little
Mm.
house. I spent 3 weeks trying to figure out how to get into the loft basement. Yeah, like it was this whole big clue thing and this weird thing with the windows, and I ended up having to turn out all the lights. It was very weird, which by the way, that is Blue Kun's home. That is a fantastic, fantastic home. But basically, like, it took me 3 weeks to figure this out because there's like these two trees, and one has this weird water swirl around it. And when you sit on this like weird bird that walks around the house, you can see underneath and like see the room and shit. It was just, I mean, some of them have mysteries, they have escape rooms, they have straight up horror maps where basically you run through and you get like a whole little story, or they currently have the horror experience one, which I've only played the first part of, but you basically run through this mental hospital like a
Hmm.
few times as these monsters appear and kind of attack you. uh, but yeah, so they have like a lot of horror maps. They have climbing maps actually. But they just these kids jump in there and they create, I think they maybe possibly have romance
Mm.
clicked on those.
Okay, so there's one other guy, one homie. He's big on being in the VR world as well. He's set up some things, and I've asked him to basically take us on a field trip one day in the future once I get enough people in Isuzu that's ready to go. But I'm also gonna ask you: would you care to be a guide for us later on in the future?
I mean, yeah, yeah, I'd take you to a few places, or at least show you how to like find new interesting places.
Because like
Because
it's
basically,
just it's so
I'm
much.
not really all that social when it comes right down to it.
Yeah.
It's funny that I spend so much time in VR chat, but also most of my time in VR chat is just kind of spent world hopping, seeing what I can find.
Yeah, I can see myself doing that too. Just seeing if I like there's some collectibles I can pick up and keep with me and move on to another world and still have those collectibles. That would be the thing that I would be. It's like I would be going on an adventure to collect weird things that you can find in the VR world.
Dude, that would be like the next step, man, is being able to transport something from one world to another. Currently, a lot of the worlds are created by different people, so it wouldn't be possible. But dude, it's not that far off, man.
Are you familiar with NFTs?
The big collectible currently, I guess, would be avatars.
Yeah. Well, are you familiar with non fungible tokens, NFTs?
Not really, not a whole lot. Like I've seen it around, but
Yeah. And I guess that's what I was getting at. Like that essentially, once they incorporate that, oh man, it's just the world's just gonna blow up. I'm waiting to the point where they do things like just the regular standard video games where you can hop into a world and instead of just playing Apex the regular way you play Apex, now you get into the VR world and they're like, hey man, grab a gun, come on. And it's just like, whoa, what?
yeah, and they have a couple games that are like, and man, I'm not a I'm not super fond of a first person shooter, but VR kind of changes things. And through murder mystery worlds, I've kind of learned that I'm a bit of a killer, so so it might be too. But I 100% in the I did it in two different worlds. One was a murder world, and then the other one was an Among Us world. And
Mm.
in the murder mystery world, basically, I was not even the killer. I picked up the knife thinking it was a clue, and someone went, "Oh, dude, Izzy's the killer," as he was passing by me, and I just turned around and stabbed him. And from that moment on, like I just stabbed every single person that I came into contact with without even
And you
thinking. I
wasn't
was like,
even
"Well, I guess
dang
I'm
murderer.
done."
That's actually crazy. If they have an Among Us VR basically game?
Inside VR chat, they do. Um, Pretty much if it's a simple game, they also have like Fall Guys in VR chat. They
Mm.
little simple game like that. Chances are they'll make a version of it inside VR chat.
I think I've seen Mario in virtual in VR, and it's like they took a 2D, well, they took the regular game and they made it look like you're going a straight shot down. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it or if that's in there or not. But I have seen people taking old games and giving them the VR, excuse me, the VR space, adding the VR space to it. So now you can be in your old game. Like I can't wait to play Sonic the Hedgehog. If that's a thing, boy.
Oh man, cool. I want it to be. As soon as it
Yeah.
is, I'll be there because that's like that's a lot of my childhood hours right there.
I played. I think no, I did. I played Sonic the Hedgehog 2 probably half my life. I'm not. I'm exaggerating, but before I had a system, I had a Sega. Well, before I had any of the new systems, I had a Sega Genesis all the way up until um, I think senior
Dude, the
year in.
Genesis was a great piece of machinery.
Yes, it's I know it's around here somewhere because I have that and the Dreamcast. Just those are my
Oh
artifacts.
man, I was also fond of the Saturn, man. I was literally looking up a game that I used to play on the Saturn last night because I just could not describe. I mean, honestly, there is no describing the game. It was called Knights,
Ah,
but yeah,
Knights is
Knights on Sega
amazing.
Saturn, and it was just like, no, you fly through the rings. There's no
Yeah,
point. You just fly through the rings.
Knights is
So I ended up
amazing.
having to look it up.
I have I what's that, the second Knights that came out. I was introduced to Knights that way, and I was introduced to it first because of the music. There was a couple of songs, and I did a sample for one of them, and then I just dove into the world, and it was this real majestic place, and I don't know, there's something real nice about it. It was what led me there
It was like I
was
couldn't quite put my finger on it. I was like, dude, we loved it, but I don't really know why we loved it. Like I had to literally read the like storyline for it last night because I was like, we didn't understand a lick of what we were like looking at. We just knew that we loved this game, you know?
yeah, it's I really can't explain it other than it's like this fantasy. You're flying, you're going through rings, all these different places.
Apparently there is like an evil boss and stuff. Like there's someone trying to like but yeah, it's just you flying around in this dream world, man. Which for the time was honestly like so far graphically above what it could have been, you know? Like that was
Yeah,
pretty fucking amazing.
I want to be able to do that. And ooh, have you experienced flying in VR?
Not quite well, sort of close enough. There are certain rooms that like there's like a grappling hook room and then there's like this robotic arm room. And
Hmm.
basically in these rooms you can kind of thrust yourself through the air. So it's not quite flying. It's more there's a more realistic touch to it, I guess.
Yeah.
But dude, going through the air like that, like you just it's a whole other dimension of like learning how to aim yourself and how much like force to give yourself and whatnot.
Do you think from
And it does
experiencing
give you
this?
that flying through the air feeling.
Do you think from experiencing that you'd be able? Do you think that would help you be able to do that in real life?
I mean, possibly one day because very I'm one of those people that like when I get immersed, I'm full on immersed. So it's like if something's going to scare me, if something scares me in real life, it is likely to scare me in the game, you know? And
Yeah.
I'm not a height person, but at the same time, if you put me in the right situation, I think I would take to it. I do
Hmm.
have bad thought syndrome, which is not great for the sort of thing, but
Yeah. Yeah. I feel that. I feel that. After a certain age, I would get on roller coasters and say to myself, "Well, I decided to get on this roller coaster, so therefore I also decided that today was a good day to
right.
die."
I get nervous at heights, but my first thought is always, I could jump right now.
Yeah.
Which is weird thought to have because, like, I'm not like depressed or anything. There's nothing like that in my head. In fact, my family's like crazy. I could have ended up like really bad, and I'm like, man, I ended up great. But then those thoughts still like enter your brain sometimes. You're just like, I could jump. I could splatter myself. It'd be really
I,
easy from this height.
and VR allows you to do that. Like that's the crazy part about it because I was one of those. Well, it's called the PS2 era. And PS2 opened up more ways for people to be able to jump and fall to their death in games. So what I tried to do in every game almost was jump off the edge and see if they gave me allowed me to die. And I mean, it's VR. Like I would. That's like your best. That's your best way to feel. Are you familiar with Mirror's Edge?
Yeah, yeah, the
So
parkour game, right?
yeah, so in the first one, like they do this thing in the first one. When you fall in that game, they make it feel so real, and it's just from you just holding a controller. I can only imagine what that would feel like when you're actually playing that in VR, because it's
Oh,
like they do everything from make you hear your body hit the ground. You start seeing the momentum building up. It's a freaking sight to just behold. Oh, I gotta get me a VR set so I can jump off a cliff.
right. I know it sounds weird, but it's one of the like best experiences in VR chat is like when you realize that basically when you fall you just respawn,
Yeah.
and then you have this whole period of time where like I don't know, you'll realize that you can go through a wall or something, and you're just kind of like, "Okay, well, time to jump." And it just I don't know, it's like you can almost feel the air rushing by you. It's really cool.
Oh,
If you have a
okay.
fan
So
set up, then you're set.
what's your what's your I guess what is your most exciting moment you've had so far in VR?
Um, I would definitely say I would definitely say that getting into that basement was quite huge because I mean there were a lot of red herring clues, and
Hmm.
basically when I got the thing that I needed, the key that I needed, I was literally standing in my living room with my SO in the bedroom because we try to play in separate rooms so that you don't get the echo. And I'm
Yeah.
literally just standing up and screaming, "I got the key! I got the key!" He's like, "No, you don't." So that would definitely be one of them. There was also when I realized that NPCs exist in the VR chat realm, man. I walk into a
Mm,
room and there's a damn dog, and the dog actually interacts with you. It lifts its head, it lets you pet it, it like makes little barks. I'm like, oh fuck.
that is
But that,
crazy. I am.
dude,
I
I have a
gotta.
meltdown. I'm just like, oh my god, hey baby. It's not a real dog. It doesn't respond to that.
Do so. I okay. Take me back to that house, because I'm familiar with this other virtual place, and normally when it comes to obtaining real estate or virtual real estate, you either have to pay or you win it from some weird odd quest, quote unquote. Um, I guess walk me through, how do you acquire a house that you can basically go find out has a puzzle within it?
When it comes to VR chat, man, technically any of the worlds, like you can upload something as private or you can upload it as public. Like I'm in a couple discords with some people where basically like they have a room in VR chat. They are the only people who get into that room. And it's literally
Mm,
like named after their group and everything. But but as long as they upload the worlds to public, which most of the worlds that you go into will be, then you have the option of picking any world. You can pick an avatar world, you can pick like a garden that to load into, man. But a lot of people have made like actual homes and stuff. So if you type in like apartment into your search thing, it'll just bring you up all these apartments. I'm personally fond of Atheist Apartment. That's like a really, really cool apartment. Um,
mm.
but
It's called Atheist Apartments.
it's called Atheist Apartment, yo. But but it's got like this whole like garden outside and stuff, and it it's kind of future techy looking, which I like. But
Hmm.
but yeah, I just basically typed in space one day. So I'm looking through a whole bunch of space rooms and I come across the Blue Kun home. And from there, what you basically want to do is open what they call your own instance, which is basically like you make a copy of this world, but you can choose like who's allowed in. So you can make it private to where only the people you invite can come, or you can
Hmm.
make it public to where anyone who sees this room open can just click on it and come in. Um, for your homes, I always suggest private, but
Yeah,
then you just click make my home. It's like literally on the side of every world you go into, make my home. And then
that
pretty
is
much from
crazy.
there, every time you load, you'll load into this world.
That is crazy. That is
Oh,
crazy.
dude,
It's a
everything on VR chat, like when it comes to paying for stuff for VR chat, what you end up doing is going to places like Discord. We actually, that's I'm only a part of Discord. Well, actually, technically, I'm only a part of Discord because I did Raw Life,
Yeah.
but after that, I learned that basically, if you want to find worlds in VR chat that are not, you know, shared with 14-year-old racists, um, then then you join these discords, and these groups like basically hold events, and you can go and hang out with people who are, adults and of the same thinking, and very much like goes to like world hop out of places because you're like, oh man, that's a 14-year-old just talking a lot of shit. I'm out of here.
So, quick question: do you have the ability to utilize VR chat without having a VR set?
Yeah, yeah. If you have a PC, like you can do it with just a PC, man.
Because
It's free
I
to
I'm
download.
eager. I'm eager to
Yeah,
hop
yeah.
in.
It's totally free, man. And like I said, they have all these like avatar worlds and stuff that you can go into. So you can pick your homes, you can pick your avatars. And then if you ever want like a better avatar, because a lot of you'll find that like as you get in there, there's a certain rating system to a lot of the avatars,
Hmm.
and most of them are going to be very poorly rated. The coolest ones that you find are going to be very poorly rated. But if you
Mm.
ever want like a really cool one that's really like well optimized, you can always buy one, and that's another way that Discord kind of comes into play. Is you get a lot of the like avatar creators and world creators and stuff all have Discords.
I I'm I'm like, please share me a good one so that way I can. I want the leg up. Of course I do. I want the leg up so I can go into the VR world.
If I find a Lego one, I will definitely send it your way, man.
this it's a it's a so of course right now I'm basically a kid in a candy store because I'm just I'm just really hyped about the power that's behind this, the future for all this. I used to joke about it with my brother about how essentially you won't have a worker go out to a job anymore to go train on the job. They will send you to a VR hub and you will work in that VR hub basically. You will
Dude,
train
and I
there.
was quickly becoming that too. Microsoft, I want to say Microsoft, don't quote me on that one, but I want to say Microsoft actually had its own VR system. And recently they decided that they were going to pull away from like selling it publicly to like gamers, and they're going to focus more on like business and people who have to
Mm,
go on these business trips and basically making their lives easier, which is a fantastic aspect to use of it because the more that it can be functional in reality, the more likely it is to like become better. Oh, did I lose him? Still got you?
hey, can you hear me?
Hey, there we go. There we go.
Okay. Oh, so okay, there you go. You just now experienced Craig being very disobedient. But as you were saying,
But yeah, like Microsoft decided to focus more on like companies that want to use VR to like instead of, sending their people across the globe, they can just kind of hook them up into VR and still get the same business meetings going,
yeah,
which is kind of the goal because the more functional it is in reality, the more likely it is to grow and like flourish, you know?
yeah. That's that's the world that I'm not surprised we didn't try to make happen as soon as the COVID crap happened because we that and for
Oh, COVID
schools.
has a lot to do with VR, man.
Just surprised they didn't. I'm just surprised they didn't hop on it even further. Well, and I say that because I'm pretty sure I'm ignorant to what's actually happening behind the scenes. But like the workspace, because I know a company. I won't call the name out on here, but it's a company that let like a bunch of people go, and now they have this system where people are going to be working from home and working in the office, but they'll be having a shared space where they work from, and it's it's weird because essentially if they really wanted to like make a really good investment they could put some money into virtual reality, getting people set up to where now they're working in this virtual space. And then also that for kids who are learning, if kids are having trouble paying attention to a teacher on a monitor, just staring back at them, well, the next thing would be to, get someone to invest and give these kids headsets, and now they're in the classroom again, but as little avatars. Like it's a weird, it's weird, but it's just that's the future. You That's gonna be an option one day. I'm not surprised if
Dude,
that's what we
it
look
it
into.
really, especially with the Quest 2, man, one of the huge things that the Quest 2 has really brought, which don't get me wrong, it is this cheap because that fucker is stealing your data.
Yep.
But who is not stealing our data is also kind of the thing. So it's like with the Quest 2, man, that is an irregularly cheap price. Like that is a ridiculously cheap price. That is not even the amount of one of the microchips that is in the system. So basically they've just kind of they flooded the market with this system that's now cheaper, that is easy to get your hands on, and basically a lot of the other places are going to have to try to keep up, you know?
Oh God, that's so nasty now that I think about it. Though they're doing that, and
They
people aren't
Man,
thinking about
Oculus
it.
is actually being sued hardcore for their business practices right now. Facebook is for their business tactics with Oculus because they have done some very nasty business tactics.
It's Are you familiar with Dave Chappelle?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So back when he used to do his skit show, the Chappelle show, that one. What happened? There was a scene where he was just joking about going to the internet, and basically he loaded up, and he was in this big old virtual mall, and he would walk around in this big open space, and people would come up to him and say, "Hey, buy my, I don't know." Some weird cookies, and then it'll pop up with a spam like click here and come join the darker side of this and see some other stuff. And basically, as Facebook moves in the way, well, as Facebook becomes what it is now, because if you look at Facebook, their main thing is how can I basically promote businesses through Facebook? That's their main stick. Or if you want to, I don't know why I keep saying that. Lately, I've been saying, "Oh, that's that person's stick." That's weird. I don't know why I'm doing that, but I can
It's
see
a fun
Facebook
term.
becoming. What's that?
I said it's a fun term.
But it's like Facebook is about to turn into a mall. Like I follow their every time they have one of those events and let you know, hey, we're having a VR only event. I pay attention to it because that lets me know that it's regularly happening, that they're discussing and showing what they want Facebook to turn into. Facebook wants to be VR chat. I bet it. Facebook wants to be VR chat.
Oh, 100%. 100%, man. They want to own the VR market as far as it goes. And they're doing, don't get me wrong, they're doing a fantastic job of doing it. But by the same means, it's it's a very twisted situation because now we're in the situation where like there's been a couple games that have come out that are not full games. Like they're part of a game and they end abruptly, and then basically pay for content ends the game. You get the rest of the
Oh
game through
yeah,
pay for content.
I
It's
hate
like you
that
already
so
paid for
much.
this game. Yeah, yeah. Like there are a lot of any innovative like thing that could be coming to VR, they have immediately either bought out or they create something similar so that they can basically just crush them. Like I said, they're getting sued by a lot of countries for their practices right now, and I'm interested to see how that turns out.
Not to mention with the whole government basically trying to break it up. So I wonder what's going to happen after that because it's like that happened, and we've all been so busy trying to worry about am I going to take a vaccine or not? Where's my stimulus check? Or just the regular mumbo jumbo. We're not thinking about how the government basically said we're gonna sneak. We're not sneak in. We're gonna go in, take Facebook apart, and they're doing it while it just feels the same. All that is happening while everything is still feeling the same on the outside. So it kind of bothers me because it turns into what part of the government is going to be ran when face was going to get ran by Facebook, because I know they're planning on breaking it up and giving it to different little entities, so that way it can be a
Well, and the
balance of
saddest
power.
thing is like, unfortunately, that dude put himself in a position where the government kind of has to do this because he allowed analytics to run through his system, which is one of the biggest evil things. Like the chick who created analytics now lives like on a beach in Taiwan. She's not allowed back into the country. And this dude allowed her to run that shit through his system, you know?
Oh
Well, through
shit!
through his platform, I should say. But but yeah, basically like he's he's straight up said that he does not care if like false information is spread through his platform. He's allowed his platform to be used in many like very shifty ways, I guess you could say, very shifty ways. And so now it makes sense that the government's having to kind of confiscate it from him, which don't get me wrong, that's just as dangerous. Honestly, when it comes to any information that you get off any platform, I just say Google it, man. Just Google it and get as much information on it as you can,
Yeah,
because you can't trust any platform of you can't trust any information kind of
it's
unless you get
it's
it
it's
from many different like
sources. Yeah,
platforms, you know?
you got it, because then you have to put it all together and say, okay, so this sounds like this. And ooh, the crazy! I had this conversation with an acquaintance of mine, because then it turns into: are you going to go out in the world, the real world, and become a journalist so you can then go find out the real truth? Then, like, it's crazy what
Yeah,
level of
anymore
how
you
things
kind of
are.
have to, you know, you have to have that drive to want to know the truth.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you're just going to accept whatever information sounds good to you. For for instance, I'm obviously an opposing side to like I'm a little liberal shit basically. But basically it would be really easy for me to hear something that I want to hear in the news or on Facebook or whatever, you know, and just accept it because it's what I want. But
yeah.
deep down, I know that I need to research things, even if I like how it sounds, because chances are it's not what it seems.
And the crazy part about that is so many people want that. They want it to be simple. They want it to be easy. They're so ready to pick their favorite color when most of the time the answer choice is both the color you don't like and the color you want. And it's just it always bothers me how quick we are to just go for the simple thing.
To just
I
accept it, man. Because
it's
also,
it's that
let's not forget, there were a lot of people who fought really hard so that we did not have to accept it, you know?
yeah. Yeah. The irony, right? All of that shit. The
Right?
irony. I don't it's just it's like okay, one of the cliche ones now, or yeah, one of the cliche ones right now is determining like hate speech. It's it's so it's so grainy when you start talking about it, because for me personally, or just from when I'm just trying to tackle the idea of it, there's yes, I get it. There is freedom of speech, and yes, there is influence. So the question then becomes: where do you start pinpointing the lines when something is influence or freedom of speech? Like, that area just gets so uncanny, and people always feel like they're right when they decide something, when it's just so hard to pinpoint that. That's not something you just pinpoint.
Dude, and the worst thing is not being able to go back and admit that maybe this view is wrong. Like stuff happens every day, man. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to like
Yeah,
look back and realize, oh man, the way I used to think was not necessarily correct. And a lot of people also can't let that go. So it's like once they've made that decision and they pin down that opinion, it's like they have to live by that opinion for the rest of their life.
right.
It's like,
Like,
no, man, you have the
uh,
right to change your opinion. We're all human.
yeah, it's okay to.
And as far as like
Uh,
hate speech goes, uh, that one's that one becomes so like rocky that I'm just like, you know what? What's the intent behind it? If someone
yeah,
says something but they don't say it with hatred, it doesn't necessarily bother me. Meanwhile, if someone
exactly.
says something that's not offending at all, but they say it with hatred behind them, I can be more offended at something that shouldn't be offended, you know?
And that's basically when me and the guys formed this group here. We wanted to run it in a way where it's the wild wild west, because I want people to be able to have a good time and not have to overthink everything like we do when we go to other sites. You're trying to not get banned off of Twitter or something, but it's just it's like that's the thing. When something is built off hatred. So like just chill.
That's exactly it, man. And more often than not, you'll find that like the person who initially made a comment that like caught you off guard, chances are they're a perfectly fine person. It's when you find out that they are a hateful person that you gotta be like, well, maybe we cut ties here, buddy. But for the most part, like, I mean, I can remember entering groups and like being weary of people because I'm like, this person just seems like they're trying to kick up dust. And then that person ends up being my favorite person in group, you
Yeah.
know?
I have a
Yeah.
I have a really good friend like Liquid is that type of person. He will stir up a lot of dust, and he's the well, yeah, I can say he's one of the sweetest people on the planet. No homo or whatever you want to say. But it's it's a weird world. Uh, it's a weird world, and now it's even getting weirder. I guess to like kind of circle it back, because we're doing all this in the real world, and oh man, just imagine that in VR. Because then I don't know, because essentially then and there you can kind of do whatever you want. Because I don't know, if there's a way to say, for instance, you as a way to obliterate somebody else within VR, and it just turns to one of those things where it's like, oh, they'll be okay. They'll respawn in like 10 minutes. Like, that's crazy. That is crazy to even fathom that thought about that. Uh oh. Let me know if you can hear me. Welcome back.
All right, there we go.
I was going on a tangent, and then I just started. I was like, did I say something? Did I say something utterly wrong? Oh man.
You said something wrong, and I was just like, I'm out, man.
Well, hey, I understand either way. But I just honestly like I went on a tangent on how the world is very it's weird, and then we're gonna add one more layer of weird to it, and oh yeah, that's what I was talking about. I was going, what if you're in the VR world, and then someone in VR finds a way to just for shiggles obliterate your avatar and make you have to wait like 5 minutes to come back. And
Oh,
it's that's crazy. Like that, just fathoming that thought and wondering about that kind of stuff, or even something else. Like they teleport you to another world and you're stuck there. Like this is like, oh, I don't know. Like it's just,
man, the big thing is like when it comes to streamers and stuff, which oftentimes it could also just be that like these streamers like because they want the fan base, they friend a lot of people and allow a lot of people into their worlds when they do throw events. And there have been events where someone will come in with an avatar that is what you call a crasher.
mm,
Basically, these avatars have a lot of like animations and shit, and it's just too much for most computers. And I'm talking like good fucking computers will just crash under the shit. So basically, if someone which is why you have your like safeties in place. The same thing I was talking about with like if you shouldn't see someone's avatar.
yeah,
Normally, you can turn avatars on and off, and when you turn them off, you don't have to like see any of their animations and stuff. It's the safer way to be. But what
yeah.
they'll do is kind of come into a stream with these crasher avatars and just be like, "Fuck you, streamer," and then hit their animations and just crash the whole world, man.
That is freaking crazy. Okay, so if that's a problem still, I mean, maybe one day we'll get to a point where you can go ahead and break dance without breaking the system. But that means we're not ready for the thing that I play around with. There's a robot or animated or fake person. I bring her up a lot because I'm fascinated with the concept. Are you familiar with Little Michaela?
No, I've not heard of little Michaela.
So Lil Michaela is a false person that is created by a Sony studio, and they've created her and made her a pop star icon. And she's not real, but she makes music. She has a
Oh, she's
community.
a Vocaloid.
Yes, she's a Vocaloid. She's a fine-tuned Vocaloid 2.0, and
Yeah,
it's
it came from
crazy.
like an anime that I really, really love. So like, I'm I don't know a lot of Vocaloids, but I'm fond of them.
I am too because it's just the concept, the fact that these a person that doesn't exist can now destroy people that are really trying to do music. But
Hey,
I
but think
always,
about it this way: there's still some genius behind the scenes who like created this computer composition of voice.
yeah, yeah, and actually that's kind of why my one of my other projects is to make my own version of it. I'm gonna go ahead and start forming my own vocal. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go start making my own Vocaloid.
Now, see, I'm the opposite spectrum. I need like a bandoid.
Wait, what's a bandoid?
That is the non-existent item that is basically like the band version of Vocaloid. So they would just make music for me, and then I could sing till my heart's content.
Mm, that's
Yeah.
actually pretty cool. Gorillas. That reminds me of Gorillas, but well, they do their own music too. But yeah, you can
Oh,
have your own version of Gorillas behind you. That'd be really dope.
dude, if I could get Dell the Funky Homo Sapien, come on.
Yeah.
That man's a genius.
But the
But,
the
but yeah,
reason I even
Vocaloids are
brought her
some
up,
of the coolest things to like come of this century, man. That's once again, that's that futuristic stuff that like back in the 80s and early 90s we were like, oh, this is Jetson stuff, and now it's all starting to become real.
yeah, because that's we're gonna start seeing that in the VR world as it gets better. We're gonna then start seeing those people that are it's 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 kind of like it's weird. What happens if one day they get built to a point where they have their own, I don't know, their own, because I want to say consciousness. It's like they exist, but they don't exist, and it's like, what do you do there? Because if you
Man,
program,
AI is actually it's a lot further than a lot of people realize. The only reason that like artificial intelligence hasn't taken off more, in my opinion anyways, just not just being based only upon the facts that I know about it, you know. But
yeah.
basically there have been incidences where like they'll create this artificial intelligence. I think it was like Wendy's or something, but created an artificial intelligence to run their website that you could like ask questions to, and it learned from the people that like talk to it. Unfortunately, most of the people who go to the Wendy's website are a bunch of 14-year-old dickholes. And basically within a week they made this like a like white supremacist Nazi like sex fiend within like a week, man. So basically what you run into with artificial intelligence is that it learns from us, and we are not always the best of people to learn from.
Yep. Yep. Because
Yeah,
our talent is definitely being a shithole, but
yeah, unfortunately, man.
did you ever use Cleverbot?
No, no, I haven't.
So Cleverbot's been around for quite some time. I think I don't want to get the line about numbers. I know it was there back when I was in high school, and at the early stages, you could tell that it was like a regular bot. You could trick it into saying something like, "No, that's my maker," and I don't know what my maker would say or some crap like that. But now it's just it can respond to anything, and it's crazy. The level of AI just is. That's why I'm trying to make friends with little Michaela now, so that way.
Right? No, I understand, man. Sometimes you got to get in there early.
Yeah.
Got to lock that down.
I am waiting for the VR world to get a upgrade as far as how you look, because it would, you know how there was those video games where you could scan your face and then they would put your actual, they would do their best to make and recreate your face in a video game.
Yeah.
I kind of want to be able to do that in the VR world. That, I mean, I know it's scary because now somebody knows what you look like, and now you can go to Subway, someone
Well,
pops up on you and say, "Hey."
technically, your best bet for that in this day and age, like in the current state that it's in, um, definitely VR chat, man. I don't know if you've ever heard of Drumsy,
I have not.
but he's a very popular like YouTuber as far as VR chat goes. And his avatar, he had it like he had definitely paid for it, but he 100% has an avatar that is his likeness.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah. Well, because also when you pay for your avatar, like the first time I was made aware of this was basically in a video where a dude was like, I paid $2,000 for this avatar. Now this guy had like a raccoon and a monk outfit. I was like, dude, you shouldn't. You could have
Yeah.
gone lower for that. I assume it had animation, but he went the full route and was like, I want it to look like me. So as long as you have a really good avatar creator, you can do it, man.
You make me think about I mean, that is a freaking business right there. You can go now devote your whole life to making avatars. You're good at that shit.
Dude,
Woo.
some of these kids, like some of the ones that I've seen, because I've been looking around for kind of a pay for one recently, and
Hmm.
I'm looking low balling. I'm low balling, so I'm going for like the 30 to 60 range. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm, I'm not made of money. I work in a cafe,
I feel
but
you.
yeah. So basically, I'm not looking to spend a lot, but there are people who are like, dude, I'm looking to spend $300. These are my terms. This is what I want it to have. And there are people out there that'll do it, you know?
That's, it's like I'm not trying to give myself one more thing to do, but I mean, shoot, like just take your little
Well, the
art
greatest thing
style.
about that one is that you're giving someone else something to do.
I just because I wonder how they built these things, what they're built in, so I can.
Oh
I,
my God. Oh man. That is what proved to me that I'm not as smart as I thought I was. They use two programs. They're called Unity and Blender. Blender is a 3D like creation program,
I use
and
Blender.
then Unity is more like basically you can give them like texture and like animations and stuff in Unity. But the entire thing, like it took my my SO, I will go ahead and admit is smarter than me. Like I tend to try to surround myself with people who are smarter than me. I always want to learn. But
Exactly. That's what you're
but
supposed to
basically
do.
he's quite a smart fella. He taught himself to build computers using two like broken old computers and just got them good enough to work, you know?
Hmm.
So in a matter of like 6 months he taught himself a ridiculous amount how to like de-virus computers, everything. It took him about a month to get an avatar uploaded into VR chat. Now, I'm not saying like built an avatar. We literally downloaded a free avatar. They gave us everything we needed, and all we had to do was go in and like click the right buttons and upload it, and it took us a month. Man, the stuff is complicated, but once you like, there is a chick on YouTube called Ask Amber. She is really, really good at it, and like some of her videos, she's just kind of going over stories that happened to her in VR chat. Some of them, she's actually talking about what she's doing, but in all of them, you can see her working in the background. Like the video itself is of her
Hmm.
creating these avatars. And man, she makes it look like it's nothing.
That is crazy. I'm so this entire time I've been taking notes, and like there's so much stuff for me to look up, but I'm fascinated. Like the same way when I was introduced to crypto voxels, Decentraland, all that stuff just makes me go, oh my God, there's so many worlds out there. There's so much out there. I gotta go experience that. What the hell am I doing? If I don't experience that, I'm not living life. Like that's how I see it. It's like that's the other part of life, that other piece of pie. I gotta have that.
Dude, you won't regret it, man. It's definitely like I was definitely worried when we got ours because we basically got it with the knowing that like what we wanted was Beat Saber and we wanted VR chat. So I was like, am I about to pick up something that I'm only gonna play one game on?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, pretty much the games that I play on it are Beat Saber, Synth Riders, and VR chat. But VR chat has enough stuff that it's like it was worth it. It was worth it the second I opened VR chat. Honestly, it was worth it the second I played Beat Saber. I love music, so it was like that's perfect.
Well, I'm definitely I'm gotta partake. That's why I asked if you could utilize VR chat without having VR right off the bat, and I'm gonna have to do that. And I just realized that Craig just messaged me and said something. Give me 1 second. La 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 la. I have unexpectedly disconnected. I hate you, Craig. You are evil. You are evil. So basically, my backup is what's going currently. But with all of that being said, I guess we okay. So first off, I've had a blast talking to you about this experience. I am going to have to reach out to you again so I can then tell you about my experience in the VR world, and we
Yeah,
totally got to
in
do
fact,
this again.
my name on VR chat is the exact same. So you can totally like just shoot me a friend request, send me your name when you make your account, whatever, man. But yeah, we can totally like friend each other on VR chat and we'll know when each other's on.
Okay, that sounds like a blast. So before we head off, I guess if you want to tell people where they can find you, here's the opportunity to tell them that. And also for you, can you, when we're done, please send me any links that you want promoted. Also send me a photograph that you want not played, promoted with the episode, and that because that helps when I'm putting it all together. And
I
yeah,
gotcha. And I guess yeah, I guess really it's just Izzy Darkmatter on YouTube, man. I don't I don't go that many places.
well, Izzy Darkmatter, it has been awesome talking to you. Thank you for sharing your experiences of VR, and I look forward to talking to you again, especially with this new world. I'm excited. I'm just every bit of excited.
Rock on, man. I'm excited for you because man, it's a world of shit, you know?
Yeah.
Worlds beyond
Well,
worlds.
you have a good night, and I'll talk to you next time.
You too, man. You take it easy.
Later.
Bye.